P.J. Hall versus Stephen Clark in the opening tap, controlled by Carolina in the all-black uniforms. Clemson in the home whites.
And Clemson starts in the man-to-man.
Here's Miles Studi, the transfer from Vanderbilt, the spin, and too strong. Dan, let's talk about keys tonight. What do you like?
Both teams shoot the three very well. Neither team turns it over very much. And I think those two facets are going to be very important for this game.
First touch for P.J. Hall. Going to work on Clark. He's short. And Clark the rebound.
Hall looked like he had a couple more dribbles. He could have gotten closer that time. And that's going to be a dilemma for South Carolina. How do you defend Hall down there? Do you let Clark play him one-on-one? They did that time and they had success.
Gamecocks have been outstanding in the transfer portal. The starting five tells you that. Clark, who came in from the Citadel, connecting from downtown.
Now, when we're talking about their three-point shooters, we aren't really thinking about him. That's his second make on his third attempt. You give him that much time, he can knock it down.
Hall inside, the response.
And that's where he's going to have a problem. I don't think he's big enough to handle P.J. Hall that close to the basket.
Tigers' big acquisition in the offseason, Joe Girard III, who came from Syracuse after 4 quality seasons in the Empire State, and he has paid immediate dividends from three-point range and in the assist category as well early for Brad Brownell. Shot clock down to 5. Here's B.J. Mack and the big fella connects.
And Mack for South Carolina presents the same kind of problems. He's a guy who can shoot the three, can muscle his way to the basket. He's a grad transfer from Wofford. He's got all the skills down on the inside. He is going to be a problem for Ian Schieffelin tonight.
Well, in a state that's known for its football more than anything else, the basketball fans have showed up in droves, and it's important to point out here at Littlejohn, Clemson students still on campus. That kind of assists in the atmosphere, much in the same way South Carolina students were on campus at this time in this game a year ago. Hunter launching. Clark, another rebound, is second.
And Hunter comes in as a 38% three-point shooter.
Medchie Johnson, the Euro, and the finish.
That was some tough move, and he's attacking Joe Girard. And remember, Joe Girard spent the last 4 years at Syracuse where they didn't play a lot of man-to-man.
It's a lot of 2-3, Coach Boeheim. P.J. Hall, no. Miles Studi, the rebound.
So Clemson starting out cold from beyond the arc early.
Medchie Johnson, that's a 3. And it's 10-2 Gamecocks.
And Johnson, he shoots 40% from out there. His last 2 games, he's been averaging 26.5 per game. Really good start by South Carolina.
4 for 5 from the floor. Clemson just 1 of 4. And Girard's been bottled up early. Shot clock down to 5. Hall sensing that. Ian Schieffelin the rebound and a fresh 20. Girard for 3.
I think Clark got that.
Schieffelin and Mack on the deck. And a jump ball. It'll stay on this end.
We told you Medchie Johnson is a 40% three-point shooter, and if you get up on him to try to stop the three, he can go right by you. And actually, he didn't go by Joe Girard that time. He went through him.
That's one way to do it.
Yep, absolutely.
Off the screen, Chase Hunter. P.J. Hall on the offensive glass. And a chance for 3. Clark called for his first personal.
One of the things that happens when you drive the basket, he's got 3 guys on him, and nobody blocks out P.J. Hall. And talk about strength. There was 4 black shirts around Hall, and he's still able to get it to go.
Almost 6'11" from Spartanburg, South Carolina. Chance for 3 the hard way. Off the mark. Josh Gray just checking in, the transfer from LSU, the rebound.
Gray hadn't played a whole lot this year. He's big, he's strong. he presents some real physical challenges for the Tigers.
And we talked to Lamont Paris about the possibility of Gray getting more PT tonight to help contend with P.J. Hall and Clemson's size. He said, yep, that's a possibility. Shot clock down to 5. Talon Cooper. A little shake, a little bake, a little up and under.
That's very tough. Wiggins has a size advantage, and Wiggins is every bit as quick as Cooper.
Outside to Hall, that's a 3. And it's good.
That's going to be hard for Josh Gray to cover. He's just not fast enough to stay with P.J. Hall. He's got to play off in case Hall drives around him.
P.J. Hall has scored all 7 of Clemson's points. A steal by Schieffelin. Wiggins thinking about it and hit it. A 1-point game.
It appears, based on the start of this game, that we're going to have some points scored.
That was our educated guess coming in. Here's Gray with position. Strong finish with the left hand.
And that's going to be a problem for P.J. Hall. So this is a really interesting matchup on both ends of the court. Gray is just so big and so strong. If they can get him that ball and that's close to the basket, it's going to be hard.
Hall too strong. Last bucket by Gray stopped a 7-0 Clemson run. Jacoby Wright on the floor, 1 in black. Schieffelin.
What a great rebound by Schieffelin. He left his area, went right in front of Gray and grabbed that ball.
Here's Girard, bumps, and a foul. A physical start, an entertaining start, and P.J. Hall doing P.J. Hall things. The shot from downtown, and it's a 1-possession game early. Tail the tape early. We're talking quad 1 record, Stan, but hey, it means something, and especially when it comes to Selection Sunday.
Well, now, of course, the net rankings, quad 1, all that, it's not set in stone until after the season's over. But what this tells you is these are 2 really good teams. We talked about the 3-point shooting. They're both excellent 3-point shooting teams. Clemson has started out 1 for 4. South Carolina has knocked down both of their 3-point attempts.
What could be a quad 1 victory now could be a different quadrant coming up later in the season. Coming up Saturday, December 16th, the college basketball quadruple header that starts at noon Eastern. Our 2 featured games, Vermont and Virginia Tech at 4, followed by Northeastern and Virginia at 6. Both right here on the ACC network and also on the app. 1-point game, Gamecock basketball.
Both teams showcasing their depth early in the game, Roy.
I mean, they honestly go 8, 9, 10 deep, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
Mack, a controlled finish and a bump and a foul.
And that's a problem for Clemson because Mack is a guy, when he sets that screen, he can roll the basket, he can pop out, and that time he just left. And Boz Leida didn't realize that he had left, and Clemson actually talked about that. He didn't really set a screen, he just slipped out of there. And he can catch it inside. He is so skilled offensively, B.J. Mack.
Checking in for the Tigers, R.J. Godfrey. Ian Schieffelin gets a breather. 1 more free throw for B.J. Mack. The Wofford transfer played well against Clemson in previous meetings with the Terriers. He's got 3 points so far tonight.
Some guys come up from that level and it takes them a while to adjust. Not Mack. Mack has played very, very well.
1 of 2 at the stripe. Leida from the Netherlands claims the rebound. Dylan Hunter on the floor. Good look to Leida. Double teamed. Up and in.
Roy, he made that one a lot harder than it had to be. You got to catch that one and go right up, but it doesn't matter because he got 2.
Now, P.J. Hall's primary backup. You get scoring from him. That's a bonus for Brad Brownell.
Well, he's in there to guard and rebound.
Stute missed everything.
Now,
Back
the ball
to back.
did not hit the rim.
Girard has it.
We're talking about three-point shooting. Stute at Vanderbilt made 74 threes last year and 78 the year before.
Yeah, 2 seasons ago, Stute led the SEC in that department. Dylan Hunter. Stute the rebound.
Neither one of these teams is a great offensive rebounding team.
Outside to Mack. Friendly fire almost cost the Tigers the rebound. Girard is yet to get involved in the scoring column.
What a pass.
Free throws coming, and Clemson a chance to gain its first lead.
Now, Girard is a guy, he's noted for his scoring, but he can really pass the ball. And this is just a situation where Leida gets inside and gets in front of Mack, and I think Mack just underestimated him. And if you're Lamont Paris, you do not want B.J. Mack committing a foul against Boz Leida.
Coming up Sunday afternoon, a women's basketball doubleheader here on ACCN. Duke hosts Florida Gulf Coast. That's up first at noon Eastern. Then Kentucky and Louisville. Top 20 Cardinals back in action. Both also available on the ESPN app. Foul was called on Mack. Leida back to the stripe. Clemson with its first lead, and it's at a mere point. You made the point on Girard. Think about it. He played at Syracuse under Jim Boeheim with the Boeheim brothers. Chances are he had to learn how to pass the basketball, knowing how well they shot back in the day.
Not only they were good shooters, but their dad was the coach on the bench telling him to pass the ball.
It all adds up. 8 minutes in. Johnson for 3, and he connects. Gamecocks back in front, and Medchie Johnson off to a fantastic start once again.
That's a tough matchup for Leida.
He's got 8, the transfer from Ohio State. Lob for Leida, in traffic. The triple pump fake. Mack, outstanding D.
Again, Leida did not catch that one cleanly. But a good job by Mack.
On the floor for Carolina, Colin Murray Boyles. That's a good sign if you're a fan of the Garnet and Black. One of the top high school prospects in the country from Columbia, up and in, and that's one of the reasons why.
Well, he's 6'7", and Dylan Hunter is a couple inches smaller than that, and so that's a nice job to find that mismatch.
P.J. Hall set to check back in for Clemson. Godfrey with position, and against the freshman, short.
Murray Boyles just did a great job holding his ground. Because Godfrey, he can really score on the inside.
Murray Boyles expected to start for South Carolina at the beginning part of the season. Suffered from a terrible case of mono. Lost 20 pounds and really just getting his feet underneath him. He's only played in 1 game before tonight. He's expected to have a big role this evening.
Come on, boys, let's go.
Leida, not really his specialty, has yet to attempt a 3 this year. Off the double team, a steal by Johnson. Ahead, blocked at the rack. And it was clean on Murray Boyles. Hunter.
They're going to have to get some oxygen out here for Leida. Had he made that second free throw, he'd have come out of the game. P.J. Hall has been sitting over there for a while, and Leida is really sucking wind.
Still waiting for the under 12 media timeout, by the way. Davis off the high ball screen. Over to Johnson, and another 3.
Well, clearly you cannot give him as much room as he has had tonight. You risk him driving to the basket, but you'd much rather risk the 2 than the 3s that he is just burying.
Clemson calls a timeout. Medchie Johnson already with 11. 3 more here. And the Gamecocks leading Clemson by 7 on the road. Deep runs in the NCAA tournament. He's actually pretty good friends with Brad Brownell, Clemson's head coach. Now in year 14 here in Tiger Town, and the two got to know each other recruiting the Midwest back in the early 2000s. And it was Lamont that sent Brad a text back in the middle of the summer and said, Coach, we need to get together and play some golf again. They couldn't find the right time to do it, but I'm told by both head coaches, Dan, at some point in the near future, they want to get it out. Maybe go to the links and play 18.
Well, not in the near future, but some point in the future.
Well, let's go maybe May or June. Girard up and in. He forced it up, and that'll stop an 8-0 run for Carolina.
That is one of the most underrated aspects of Joe Girard's game. He is a really good post-up guy. But somehow Clemson has to find a way to stop Medchie Johnson. He's made all 4 of his shots, 3 of them threes. He's got a couple of assists.
Inside the freshman, Murray Boyles, AC Flora High School graduate in Columbia. His first significant minutes of the season and already 4 points.
And so far in this game, South Carolina doing about whatever they want on the offensive end.
Here's Girard. 5 quick on the board for 11 in white, and he's saying he was fouled.
Girard can really put points up on the board quickly.
Studi, the backdoor cut. Traveled.
Really good help defense that time by Clemson. Studi was open, but the defense collapsed.
Degree of difficulty on this shot, Dan.
Well, this is a tough shot, but Joe Girard, he keeps that pivot foot. And as I said, he's got some skills down in the post. And he showed you right there.
Somewhat of a lost art for a 6'2" guard to be able to back you down to the post, even if the defender is taller.
Uh-oh.
Chauncey Wiggins, no. PJ Hall, yes. 2-point game.
Now, Wiggins is a guy who can shoot the 3. They encourage him to shoot the 3. That one was a little bit wide of the mark. Nice rebound by Hall.
Miles Studi, step back triple. And Girard the rebound.
That was really good defense by Schieffelin.
Schieffelin on the other end. The spin and the finish. Tied at 23.
What a great response by Clemson.
A 9-2 run. Johnson. Schieffelin clears, nearly lost his balance.
How did he keep his pivot foot? Schieffelin does so many things, little things on a basketball court.
17 rebounds his last game out at Pitt on Sunday, Dan.
Well, 14 the game before that.
Hunter. Murray Boyles the rebound. This game has lived up to its billing so far, and a foul.
Now what? On who?
Well, a stoppage in play. It goes against Clemson. It's getting loud in Little John. Tied at 23. 6:50 remaining in our first half.
It's time to shake up the season and get something a little different.
Dan Bonner, Rick Bagby went to Jimmy V's basketball camp back in 1983, which just happened to be the year Survive in Advance in the national championship. We'd like to give Rick Bagby a quick shout out here.
So the camp obviously didn't take. He didn't make it as a basketball player.
He did not.
TV producer.
And for that, we're thankful. Great picture. A basketball card's got to be worth some money one day. Here's Jacoby Wright out of the timeout. Hunter Skies for the rebound, and here comes Clemson. Girard, left-handed attempt, no. Better defense by Cooper that time. Dan, does it feel like to you these two teams have kind of settled in a little bit of a rhythm, at least defensively now?
But defensively, I would say yes. Offensively, they're not struggling a little bit, but neither team has found a rhythm, except Medchie Johnson. What a pass.
Missed the chippy. Godfrey off the mark. B.J. Mack attacking and finishing.
Wow, P.J. Hall he wasn't in good defensive position, and he was trying to avoid a foul. So nice job by Mack to attack.
I see what you did there. Gamecocks by 2. Mack has 5. Here's Godfrey back to the basket. No.
Boy, he's had 2 point-blank range opportunities in the last 2 possessions.
Stute thought about it and was bottled up by Godfrey, ripped away by Hall.
Well, yes, I think they've settled in defensively.
Feels that way. The 173rd meeting between these two. Gamecocks won in Columbia last year. Was 60-58 in a last-second bucket by Chico Carter. Hunter, no.
And
Clemson ice cold from 3 so far.
Well, Hunter is 0 for 5 shooting, 0 for 2 from 3. But South Carolina, 11 of their 23 points have come from Medchie Johnson.
Here's Wright, bumped and stripped. No foul call, 14 to shoot.
You know, B.J. Mack is a guy who can shoot the 3, and P.J. Hall's worried that he's going to shoot the 3, so he runs out. He's in poor defensive position, and Hall just goes, Mack just goes right by him.
P.J. Hall just 1 personal foul so far. That's something to watch tonight.
But you don't want to get 2 in that particular situation. You'd like to get into the half if you're P.J. Hall with just the 1.
Shot clock under 5. Right against Dylan Hunter, off the pump fake.
Each team during this last few minutes has taken tough shots, and it's hard to shoot a high percentage when you're taking tough ones.
Schieffelin, who has 5 rebounds, back to work. And a lid on the basket on this end of the court.
That's a shot that Schieffelin usually makes. And that was an open shot. We're talking about taking tough shots. That was a good one.
Clark off the screen. Hall the rebound. Been stuck at 25-23 for the last 2 minutes. Schieffelin against Mack. Big man game. Mack won that battle.
I don't think Schieffelin's teammates helped him very much. When the ball is inside and you're drawing that much attention, your teammates have to find open spots. Schieffelin's a good passer. He'll find you.
Cooper outside to Mack. The price of admission right here. It's worth it watching these two. Outside to Davis. That's a 3.
Davis is long and athletic, and he's not one of the best 3-point shooters, but he's now 5 for 12 on the season, and that's nothing to sneeze at.
Gamecocks 5 of 11 from behind the 3-point arc so far tonight. Girard.
Well, Girard, he discussed it with that one. That one's down and came out. And that's one of Girard's best moves, that step back there from beyond the 3-point arc.
Mack against Schieffelin.
He walked.
And he did. No bucket. Gamecocks turn it over. Clemson basketball when we come back. But how about Zachary Davis stand from downtown in this sequence?
Well, it's a great pass by Mack. You see he's got 3 guys around him. Davis is wide open. South Carolina doing it from 3.
Low ink.
Eastern, they'll continue talking college football. Have the latest from around the conference right here on ACCN and the ESPN app. Back at Little John Coliseum, Dan Bonner, Roy Philpott. South Carolina defensively, Dan, so far has done an outstanding job against a team averaging, close to 80 points per game this year.
We talked before the game about 3-point shooting, and I think that's really been one of the big stories here in the first half. South Carolina 5 for 11, Clemson 2 for 8. And remember, they both come in shooting 40% or better.
Tigers have missed 7 straight. Haven't scored a point in the last 5 minutes. And an offensive foul. That'll be called on Godfrey. So his first.
Well, Godfrey's trying to set a screen to get Girard open, and Godfrey moves in. You can see he throws that hip out there. And he also, Girard tripped over him as well, so Godfrey was in the middle of that mix-up and not in a good way.
Clean game so far in terms of turnovers. Gamecocks back to work with a 5-point lead. Cooper, a brilliant skip pass. That's another three. Davis could not finish.
Clemson really needs a basket.
High-low, Godfrey, no. His third point-blank miss of the half.
I mean, he's had three that are right there, and they're not uncontested, but you get your big guy the ball there, you expect him to score. And in a game like this, in particular, you can't miss those types of opportunities.
Clark wasn't looking for the shot. Here's Johnson. Well, he hit a different gear. It was hard to stay in front for Dylan Hunter. That's his first personal.
Again, Johnson has knocked down those three-point shots, so he just gives you the little twitch, and you think he's going to rise up for the three, and you try to attack him, and he's got the skill to go right by.
90 seconds remaining in our first half. Pair of undefeated teams going toe-to-toe. Mack draws a double team. Cooper off the fake, outside to Clark. Josh Beadle. And a bounce pass was picked off beautifully by Johnson.
That's the wrong pass. He should have passed the ball to P.J. Hall, but he took one too many dribbles and then threw it away.
And a timeout on the floor called by Lamont Paris. We'll take one with him back in 30 seconds here in Clemson. (28-23), less than a minute to go in our first half at Littlejohn. Dan Bonner, Roy Philpott. Score tells the story in the sense that South Carolina has put the clamps down. In the same breath, Clemson has missed a couple of opportunities, Dan, you would think more times than not they would connect on, but now almost 7 minutes. A 7-minute scoring drought for the Tigers here.
And one thing that I have to tell you, there's not really a lot wrong with the Clemson defense either. South Carolina scores well over 70 points a game, and it's only 28 at this point.
Johnson against Chase Hunter. Cooper defended by Girard. Beautiful spin off glass, 30-23.
That's a tough matchup. We talked about Cooper and his skills. Another offensive foul.
If that's Hall, that's number 2.
I think it's Girard setting the screen.
And it was.
But again, that's twice now that Clemson has turned it over on offensive fouls, setting illegal screens. So the wheels have sort of come off here for the Tigers in the last 8 minutes.
Shot clock is off. Carolina can now play for the final possession here of the half. An impressive showing on the road. Round 2 of the ACC SEC Challenge, if you will. Mack rejected by Godfrey. He'll get it back. Swatted again. Tigers with time. Beadle stripped by Johnson. And that'll do it for our first 20 minutes. The Tigers go nearly 8 of those minutes. Gamecocks led at halftime in every game this year. They're a perfect 7-0. And in search of another resume-building win under second-year head coach Lamont Paris. Mack against Schieffelin. Big man basketball, and Mack again takes advantage inside.
And Joe Girard cannot afford to drop down and help out because Medchie Johnson has shot the ball so well from 3.
Mack has 7. Tigers back to work.
That's where they need to go.
Studi thinking about the double team outside for 3. And a big start to the second half for Chauncey Wiggins.
But did you notice what Wiggins did? He didn't stand. He scooted down a little bit to get a wide open 3. Both teams shooting over 40% from 3 on the season. Not tonight. Neither team's turned it over much.
Clean game on that front. Hall the block from behind.
And P.J. Hall, when he's playing on defense against Clark, when he's matched up against Stephen Clark, he's leaving Clark and helping out in the middle. You see Clark, number 4 in the corner. Hall just paying no attention to him. Gets a block.
Second rejection for Hall. Shot clock under 10. Johnson was scorching hot in the first half. Block number 3 for Hall.
And they've got a 5-on-4.
And Cooper skies for the rebound.
If you're Clemson, you'll take that shot every time.
Tigers 3 of 10 from deep. South Carolina 5 of 14. And Hall says not tonight.
That's his 3rd block shot in the second half. We've yet to play 2 minutes. But again, Hall is leaving Clark. You see there, Clark isn't even in your picture, and that's who Hall is guarding. Clark comes into the picture now, and he sees Hall leave. He's got to get himself in a position where they can find him.
Johnson
wow.
for 3. Deep shot, and he buried it. Johnson has 14.
That was a long, long shot. And Chase Hunter, I mean, there's very few people you'd defend out there.
Mentioned Chase Hunter. Blocked by Clark out of bounds. 17 on the shot clock.
Hunter now on the evening is, he's 0 for 6 in field goals. He hadn't scored a point yet. And talk about a deep 3. I mean, Chase Hunter was not even in a stance because he didn't think it was time to be in a stance.
Now Johnson shooting over 40% now for the season from 3-point range. And Dan, the lead back to 9. And Wiggins will shoot 2.
Well, again, you have a situation where one of the Clemson players gets double teamed. And P.J. Hall that time didn't cut to the basket. So Clemson really not doing a very good job off the ball finding open spots.
Foul was called on Clark. That's his 2nd. Wiggins 3 of 6 of the line this season. Coming up Saturday, December 16th, the college basketball quadruple header that starts at noon Eastern. Our 2 featured matchups, the Catamounts of Vermont against Virginia Tech at 4 Eastern. Then up next, Northeastern in Charlottesville against the Wahoos. Next Saturday here on ACC Network, also on the ESPN app.
Well, the Clemson Tigers, they've got to dig in on the defensive end, particularly against Medchie Johnson.
He's defended by Chase Hunter. The matchup to watch for both sides. Turnaround by Mack. Poked out to Cooper.
Well, I thought he was going to pull the trigger on that one.
Well, he just watched Johnson hit one from that distance moments ago. Stute, Clark, and a chance for 3.
And that's exactly what we were talking about. That time Clark, when he sees P.J. Hall leave, he cuts into the middle of the lane, and they throw Clark the ball, and P.J. Hall can't recover. Again, Hall steps in the middle lane, not even looking at Clark, and Clark does a great job getting position, drawing the foul.
2nd personal on P.J. Hall.
Now Clark, he does not score much for South Carolina, but he scored more than 1,000 points when he was at the Citadel.
Splashes home that free throw. Gamecocks now, Dan, with their largest lead at 10.
And Clark comes in averaging 3 points a game, and he's already got 7. And he goes out of the game. That's a good, nice job by Hall. You know, P.J. Hall left him and blocked a couple shots, and he finally made Clemson pay for it.
38-28. Hall defended by the freshman. He'll take advantage. Strong finish at the rack.
And with Clemson's offensive struggles, that's your guy inside. You need to get him the ball, and you need to play through P.J. Hall.
Hall has 11. Tigers
Clemson,
show a zone.
They're playing a zone. And I think that's a concession that they're having a hard time guarding.
Murray Boyles. Shot clock at 5. Johnson knows it. Short on the 3.
Well, they're fortunate that one didn't go into the bin.
But Schieffelin made that pass blind. Hunter somehow corralled it. And now finally finishes. 38-32.
Let's see if Clemson sticks with the zone. Sometimes you play a zone because your opponent is moving so well and it slows them down.
Mack was stripped. He was fouled going up. Well, veteran officiating crew Ron Kruger made that call on the far side. Schieffelin picks up the personal.
Clemson was trying to push out in the zone a little bit, and they found Mack in the middle. And while Mack is noted for his ability to shoot the three, he's very effective on the interior.
Sounds like a 90s sitcom. Mack in the middle. How quality has he been? Shushed the crowd after making the free throw as well. BJ Mack, the Wofford transfer. He's got 8 points and 5 boards. Well, you love rivalry games.
South Carolina has been very impressive so far in a very tough atmosphere. But Clemson's problems today have been much more on the offensive end than the defensive end. They have to figure out a way to score consistently, and I think the way they do it is to have P.J. Hall handle the ball. Here's
Hunter attacking, and he will shoot 2 when we come back. Now, P.J. Hall, 11 points, the spin on Murray Boyles, and the lead at 7 for Carolina.
But here you see Stute guarding Wiggins, and the ball is going to go inside to P.J. Hall. And take a look at number 10, Stute. Watch what he does. He tries to go down, and he's trying to help out against Hall. And Wiggins, instead of standing outside, he's going to gradually move down to a position where Hall can find him, and Stute can't get back to him. And that's exactly what you need to do, play through P.J. Hall. Wiggins did a nice job not being a spectator there. He became a participant, and as a result, he gets a 3.
Chase Hunter at the stripe. He's got 2 points tonight, just 1 of 7 from the floor. 87% at the line this season. It's the latest in the history of this rivalry. These two teams have both come in undefeated. Hunter 1 for 2.
Well, now, again, Clemson's got to dig in on the defensive end. Now they're back to the man-to-man.
Johnson with a step. The ball movement, Stute wide open for 3.
And that's why you go to the zone, because the ball movement has been so good for South Carolina, particularly in the second half. And again, Stute is an outstanding three-point shooter. Just great player movement and ball movement.
First points of the night for the transfer from Vanderbilt, Miles Stute. Lead back to 9. P.J. Hall to Schieffelin. Rejected at the rack by Murray Boyles. What a block. And on the other end, a foul called. South Carolina will shoot 2. That'll go on Schieffelin.
Roy, and we just showed you that replay with P.J. Hall having the ball inside and Wiggins going to an area where Hall could find him. That time, Joe Girard did not. Girard's man right went down to help out against Hall, and Girard drifted out to half court. And because Girard drifts out to half court, the only option is Schieffelin. And what a great recovery by Colin Murray Boyles. You can see why they're so enthusiastic about him. He is a very skilled young man.
He's expected to start at the 4 at the start of the season. We mentioned he battled mono early. Just came back the last game against George Washington. And now Medchie Johnson has 16 points tonight, and he has been the difference for Carolina.
Well, and here now it's an 11-point game. Clemson simply can't get anything going on the offensive end, and South Carolina's grinding it out.
Largest lead for the Gamecocks. Off the cut. Beadle, no. Out of control, and Davis helped corral that one at the rim.
It's been a tough night for Beadle. His stats in the first half included 2 turnovers in a very brief stint, and as you say, that time just completely out of control.
Johnson picked up by Hunter. Outside to Davis. In and out.
It's a relatively small lineup out there for South Carolina. You got to find Hall in the low post.
6 minutes into our second half. Girard will back him down. Hunter picked up by Johnson. The turnaround is there.
Nice cut by Hunter because there's Joe Girard playing in the low post again. That time, instead of shooting it, he passed it.
Lead back to 9. Jacoby Wright against Girard was stripped. Inside to Wiggins.
Nice
We
job.
willed that one in.
Well, nice job taking advantage of the mismatch. They got the ball down the court quickly after the turnover, and Wiggins was matched up against Jacoby Wright. And Wiggins is limping a little bit. Of course, you always limp on the defensive end. You recover on offense.
It's amazing how that works. Johnson, an opening. Tapped out back to the Tigers. All right, Chase Hunter finding a way to get involved offensively, Dan.
Well, it has been a struggle for him, and this is a situation where he's just got some room in the lane, and he's able to hit that turnaround jump shot. But again, that's another contested shot. The South Carolina defenders have done a great job giving Clemson nothing easy.
Have you been surprised by what South Carolina has done defensively? We knew they could score coming in.
No, not really. They've done a nice job pressuring the ball. They've got good quickness and size at just about every position, and it's been a tough matchup for Clemson.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because you looked at them, watched them during shoot-around. The basic implication was they passed the eye test. Inside, that was Godfrey.
They look like a basketball team. There's just any question about that. Great size.
Studi, a deep three. And a foul committed by Davis over the back.
Really good defense by Clemson, and we keep saying, if you're going to come back, you've got to do it. You've got to start on the defensive end, but you have to score on this end. And Clemson has scored a couple of baskets here. That changes the whole complexion of the game. The Tigers on a 6-0 run over the last minute and a half.
Hunter for three. Beetle was sandwiched between two Gamecocks. It's poked out. Last touch by Carolina.
That's a break for Clemson because Hunter, he had an open shot, but he just isn't shooting the ball well. And I'm not sure that in that situation, you take the ball without P.J. Hall. You take that shot without P.J. Hall handling the ball.
You want every possession the ball going inside to 24. Girard with the three. He thought it should have been 4. He looked right at us with a little bit of a wink and a nod.
Well, he's got to be careful. The next time he does that, he'll get called for a flop.
One possession game in Little John. And a steal.
Girard's calling for a screen from Hall.
Here it comes, the step back. And this place was about to come unglued if that shot fell.
Well, that's exactly what they were looking for, and that's a good opportunity.
Hall banged, offensive.
Yeah, he lowered that shoulder.
It's starting to get loud in Little John. Joe Girard, the transfer from Syracuse, finds the bottom of the net. We got a one-possession game in Tiger Town with two undefeated rivals going toe-to-toe. Minutes or so.
The game is a lot easier when the ball goes in the basket, and the ball has gone in the basket. And one of the things that they've done is they've thrown the ball to P.J. Hall. They've used screens by P.J. Hall. Joe Girard has hit a couple of baskets. And I think Joe Girard is having a conversation there with the officials. They told him, don't you dare fall down like that again. Last year, that would have been called a flop because it was a point of emphasis. It's not this year. And the officials have been told it has to be really egregious, and I guess the guys decided it wasn't.
Girard has 10. Schieffelin will feed the post, and a foul inside. That limited Godfrey for a moment.
Well, now we're in a key point in the game here for Clemson. They've cut the lead to 2, but P.J. Hall has gone out of the game. And Clemson has now gone with a relatively small lineup.
Third foul on Clark. Approaching 11 to play. Godfrey inside, and we're tied at 44.
They didn't come to help out against Godfrey, and he is a big, strong guy.
An 11-0 run for the Tigers. Third time we've been tied tonight. Boy, Johnson thought about it. He wants it back. 5 to shoot. Cooper drains a 3.
Wow. That was another deep 3. And he's their best percentage three-point shooter.
48% coming in, Dan, to your point. Gamecocks have led throughout. Clemson only had a brief advantage for 24 seconds. Schieffelin with a fadeaway. Mack tapped out to Johnson.
Yeah, that was a long shot with a long rebound. That's a hard one to corral.
Corner 3 by Wright, no. And a foul called against Clemson. That's going to go on Godfrey, and he can't believe it.
Well, he was backing his way into Stephen Clark and knocked Clark down. So, I mean, sometimes you would not call that a foul if Clark doesn't fall down, but when there's contact and it creates a significant advantage, that's a foul. And Godfrey didn't need to do that. This ball goes off. Godfrey, you can see he's leaning in, then just pushes him down. So P.J. Hall back in the game now. Just a little breather.
Halfway home in the second.
It's a foul on Schieffelin.
Mack was not allowed to move the way in which he wanted to. Schieffelin just picked up his third.
And Brad Brownell is asking Ron Groover if that wasn't a flagrant foul for an elbow.
He took a shot right in the nose in this sequence.
Well, he goes right into him. And that's going to be interesting. Think about this. You're standing and you put your arms down at your side and raise your arms so your hands are at a 90-degree angle to your elbows out in front, and you hold the basketball there. And then you go out to the end of that basketball and you draw a circle around you. You know, the basketball is the front, your backside is the back. That's your cylinder. It goes all the way to from the floor to the ceiling, and that's your cylinder. And the defensive player cannot get in that cylinder and make contact. And if there's any contact, then that's a foul on the defender. Now, the offensive player is not allowed to swing his elbow, even in that situation. So the question now is that contact by Mack, does that rise to the level of excessive and or unnecessary to be a flagrant 1 foul? That is a very tough call for the officials.
The defensive foul was called first. They're now looking at the secondary sequence after that. It was a bang-bang play either way.
And it's just a common foul on Schieffelin, so there's no flagrant foul there. See, that's a tough one for the officials because the guy gets in that cylinder. You've got to call the foul right away because the offensive player is going to try to defend himself. And this is a situation, yes, there's contact there, but if you notice, the elbow was going from down to up. So it was a vertical swing of the elbow, not a horizontal swing of the elbow. And usually with that vertical elbow, it is not going to be a flagrant foul in that situation.
We'll go back to Mack against Schieffelin. The turnaround, in and out. Schieffelin the rebound. Grown man basketball inside. Beadle. Clemson has the lead.
That time he used a nice P.J. Hall screen very close to the basket. Beadle's got some quickness, so they're going to try him on Medchie Johnson.
Last lead by the Tigers at 14-13. And Clark draws the foul inside.
Well, Schieffelin does a nice job here. He hands off, gets himself stopped. There's not a lot of contact there. But then Beadle actually uses Clark and Hall battling inside as a screen and has a wide open lane to the basket.
Then P.J. Hall just picked up his third. Does Brad Brownell have to take him out now?
I don't think Brad Brownell has to take him out now. He's going to. P.J. Hall in that situation, he goes out. No, he's not. Schieffelin is coming out. P.J. Hall does not need to attack Clark that way, that far outside. Clark has shown he can shoot the three, but you just get out, you get in a good defensive stance. You don't try to get right up on him and pressure him and allow him to drive by. So mistake by P.J. Hall results in a foul.
Stephen Clark has more than doubled his scoring output on the season tonight. Now with 8 points and 5 rebounds.
As we said, 3 points a game coming in.
Gamecocks back in front. What a game. Beadle feeling confident. Too strong with a layup.
He expected somebody to come and try to block the shot. That's the situation. Just take it to the basket. He made that a lot harder than it had to be, and he missed a wide open layup.
Shot clock under 10. Cooper against Beadle. No look dish to Clark. Lays it up and in.
And again, Clark takes advantage of the fact that P.J. Hall goes to the ball. He's got 10 points now.
109 career games at the Citadel over 4 years. And Brad Brownell's going to call a timeout.
Really good response by South Carolina after being hit by that 11-0 run.
3-point game, 8:12 to go in Littlejohn. And perhaps stand some friendly banter this week on the text lines between 55 and 24.
No doubt.
Back to live action. 3-point game. Out of the timeout. Wiggins drains a three, and we're tied again.
Wow, that was obviously a play, and Wiggins, they're confident in his ability to shoot the three, even though his percentage isn't particularly high. And he looks confident shooting the thing as well.
Had 4 on the season coming into tonight, has 2 so far this evening. And here's Cooper. Outside to Johnson, that's been his spot. Not this time.
That's a great rebound by Godfrey.
Godfrey. Hunter the rebound, the pump fake. Wiggins again. Yes!
Wow! PJ who?
Clark went down and remains on the hardwood.
I think he turned his ankle. He and Chase Hunter got tangled up.
Chauncey Wiggins, Dan, with the career-high 15 points tonight, and the Tigers have needed every one of them.
Well, this is after the out-of-bounds play. He's ready to catch and shoot. There you go.
Not sure what this young man's doing after the game, but it looks like he's going to have a good time. And his team, somehow, some way, Dan Bonner, back in front of South Carolina, in part because of a career night by Chauncey Wiggins.
On a night when P.J. Hall, Chase Hunter, and Joe Girard are both scoring below, all three scoring below their season averages, Chauncey Wiggins has stepped up big time. And the Clemson Tigers, they were 2 for 8 shooting 3 in the first half. They're 4 for 7 here in the second half. We talked about the importance of the three-point shot, and we've sure seen it in the last few minutes.
Clark appears to be okay. He's currently on the South Carolina bench. Johnson out of the timeout is wide open. And the rebound claimed by Murray Boyles. Back to Johnson, another look. This time makes him pay. Tied at 54.
You just cannot give him that many open opportunities. That is another great response by South Carolina.
Johnson has 19, 5 of 9 from deep.
See, they're playing way off Gottfried, helping out against Hall on the inside.
Here's Wiggins, double team, jumper. Good defense by the Gamecocks.
And I know they're helping out against P.J. Hall, but I think P.J. Hall, he has to at least touch the ball every time down.
Swipe by Godfrey.
He doesn't see Johnson coming.
Here's Gerard. Outside to Wiggins, who was not ready, and the pass sailed right by his head.
Gerard told him where to go coming up the court, and Wiggins didn't do it. And this is a great offensive rebound. Murray Boyles just gets in and he knocks down P.J. Hall. That's why he was able to get that rebound, and Chase Hunter just not anywhere near close enough to Medchie Johnson.
Mack to Cooper against Gerard. Shot clock down to 6. The double team. 4.2 seconds on the shot clock. It'll stay with South Carolina.
That's a break for South Carolina because Cooper, I don't know what he was doing, but he got himself down there in the midst of 4 white shirts.
Not able to take a look at that one. Here's B.J. Mack against Schieffelin. And a foul on the floor against the Tigers. It'll be Schieffelin.
Well, they may look at this to see whether or not the foul occurred before the shot clock expired.
This is a big call either way. Schieffelin, number 4 for the Tigers, just picked up his 4th foul.
Now the question is now not whether he got it off, but whether the foul occurred before the expiration of the shot clock.
Well, Mack and Schieffelin have been going at each other all night tonight. That initial look makes me think it was a little closer than I originally anticipated. And Dan, you made the point, it's not when the shot goes up, it's when the foul was committed.
Yes, when the foul occurs.
Okay, 2 shots
right, so
coming.
it's a 2-shot foul. So the officials have decided that that foul occurred before the expiration of the shot clock. And look up on top, at the top of your screen. That's the official clock, and Schieffelin is battling inside, and it looks like that foul occurred. I'm not. They're talking about it being a 1-and-1, I think. Because if the foul occurred before, I think the foul occurred before the shot. If it's a shooting foul, it occurred after the clock expired.
Gamecocks are in the bonus. 17 foul called against
It's
Clemson.
a 1-and-1. Okay, that's the right call.
Mack 2 of 4 at the line, make it 3 of 5.
And that is a really tough break for the Clemson Tigers. But you got to tip your hat to Mack. He just hung in there. Cooper got him in trouble in the first place, getting surrounded down there. They got the inbounds pass to Mack, and he just muscled his way into getting that foul.
B.J. Mack started 69 games at Wofford. Averaged over 16 points and 5 boards per game last year. 2 for 2 at the line.
But as you said, maybe the biggest part of that whole thing is the 4th foul on Schieffelin.
He's been held in check tonight for the most part. Until now. Clemson back in front by 1. Murray Boyles for 3. Schieffelin the rebound.
Well, Mack is down. You got to push.
Girard wants it. Schieffelin has it. And jams it home! Inside to Davis and the response.
They just did a great job moving the ball with all that crowd noise. They had a mismatch with Girard against Mack, but they didn't ever get there. Didn't need to.
Schieffelin to Wiggins.
They got to get the ball to the other side so P.J. Hall can get involved.
Here's Chase Hunter. Shot clock down to 7. Hall gets a touch. Hall driving. And a blocking foul called on Carolina. Ian Schieffelin making things happen for the Tigers after a quiet start. 5 quick points, and the Tigers lead their rivals by 1. Eastern, followed by number 18 Louisville against Kentucky in another rivalry matchup. Both games also on the ESPN app. Dan Bonner, Roy Philpott, 1-point game rivalry matchup here in the Palmetto State at Little John Coliseum. In the second half has been a different story so far for the Tigers, Dan.
61%. I've already scored 36 points after only 23 in the first half. We talked about the fact that this is a good offensive team. They've been very good offensively in the second half.
Schieffelin looking at Hall. Shot clock down to 6. Hall double team, jump hook, no.
Hall is going to make that shot more times than not. But it's been very difficult. South Carolina defensively is doing a great job preventing P.J. Hall from getting the ball early in the clock. Keep in mind, Schieffelin has 4 fouls.
Johnson hit another gear, and the pass picked off by Hall. Here comes Hunter. Up and in.
It's only Hunter's 3rd field goal of the night, and that was a big one in transition.
Hunter has 7, the lead at 3. Ties Clemson's largest. Mack between the legs. Shot clock under 5.
Who do they get?
Now inside, was it Wiggins or Schieffelin?
Let's see. Wiggins. But the battle inside has been ferocious here in this second half. And here's Murray Boyles again, who just does a great job getting position. And Wiggins, if Wiggins just stands there, then he doesn't get the foul. But Wiggins moves into him and moves him out of the way. He had him blocked out under the basket. He didn't need to foul him.
First free throw in the career of Murray Boyles. And he splashes it home. Coming up tonight at the conclusion of our game, the Nothing But Net crew will break everything down the night in the ACC with highlights and analysis of all the men's games. Look ahead to the best games coming up on the schedule in this coming week. That's coverage you can only find in one place, right here on ACC Network and the ESPN app. 1 for 2 for Murray Boyles. Big possession for Clemson.
Boy, Murray Boyles really going against P.J. Hall.
Hunter to Schieffelin against Mack. Wiggins for 3. Hall the rebound. Hall will shoot 2.
That is a big-time rebound right there by P.J. Hall.
Tigers now in the bonus. Murray Boyles just picked up his second foul.
Murray Boyles has been very impressive, particularly on the defensive end. He's been going up against P.J. Hall and has made it very difficult to throw the ball in there to him.
P.J. Hall, 11 points, 8 rebounds tonight. Make it 12.
And he got there because of a great job rebounding the ball. He just goes straight up. And that's exactly what you have to do, and Murray Boyles gets him, pushing him with the body. But that's just great job positioning himself and then not going over the back by P.J. Hall.
Reigning ACC Player of the Week, 1 of 2 at the line. They get 1 of 3. Schieffelin chases down the rebound.
How many good things does Schieffelin do?
He's got 8 boards tonight, Dan. Out of their motion offense. Shot clock at 5. Hunter for 3. And he buried it. Murray Boyles inside against Hunter. He'll shoot 2.
And the foul is against Hunter. And that ball sort of slides out of P.J. Hall's hands, but a great job by Schieffelin to come across the lane quickly and chase Hunter. He struggled all night long. That's what you call a big-time screen, and he knocks down that 3 off the dribble.
Murray Boyles, 1 of 3 at the line. And if you look up the phrase glue guy in the dictionary, Ian Schieffelin's face would be right there. It's what he does.
He just does a little bit of everything. He seems to sense what his team needs in any given situation, and he produces it.
For 2. Tigers have their largest lead and then turn it over off the rebound attempt.
Well, Chase Hunter went after that ball when there's no reason for him to. Schieffelin had it. And so it was over the back. Hunter going over Schieffelin's back, and they're laughing about it.
Clemson trailed tonight, Dan, by as many as 11 points. They now lead it by 6.
Every time Clemson has made a run at him, South Carolina has responded. P.J. Hall comes out of the game.
Dylan Hunter comes in.
It's in reaction to a smaller lineup that's in the game now for South Carolina.
Medchie Johnson in traffic.
I think Schieffelin got a piece of that.
The putback is there, the lead back to 4, and a timeout called by Lamont Paris. 30-second timeout. We'll step aside, and Clemson back in 30 seconds ourselves after this.
With eBay Authenticity Guarantee, it's checked by experts. Every stitch, tag, and logo.
4-point lead for number 24 Clemson, trying to improve to 8-0 and continuing this fast start. Best start for the Tigers since 2008. Now during that timeout, the lead cut to 4. What's Brad Brownell telling his team here?
Well, Brad Brownell is trying to react. He's got to figure out who they've got in the game. First of all, he took P.J. Hall out because of the smaller lineup. And I think the big thing he's telling them, guys, we're doing a pretty good job defending the first shot. But South Carolina has gotten some offensive rebounds.
And Lamont Paris, second season in Columbia.
And so what they're going to try to do, it's Clemson's ball. And so what you want to do is you want to get the ball up the court. You don't want to go quickly, but you want to take a good shot. You don't want to wait until the end of the 30-second shot clock necessarily. I think if P.J. Hall is in the game, then the object is to get P.J. Hall involved at least early in the shot clock.
And if you're South Carolina, are you willing to play this possession out, or do you?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. not ready to turn it into a foul fest.
No.
Wiggins, Schieffelin, Girard, Hunter, and P.J. Hall back on the floor.
So, you know, they talked about what they want to do on the offensive end, and I think it involves getting the ball to P.J. Hall early. Not necessarily for him to shoot, but you get the ball to Hall and you play off of him. But then defensively, they were talking about the fact, you know, once we stop him, we got to get the ball.
Wiggins has to go.
It's a 5-second violation.
And a costly turnover.
And Brad Brownell is telling him, call timeout.
Tigers have one remaining and a 30-second timeout as well. So 2 overall. Hunter comes back in, Hall to the bench.
You know, sometimes it gets down to just the very basic things. You got to get the ball in bounds. Something as simple as that, but it's not very simple right then. Now, B.J. Mack is back in the game. And so Hall is going to come back in.
So no time went off the clock there. Hall forced to stay on the court. Gamecocks get it back. B.J. Mack is wide open. Schieffelin the rebound. That was a big miss. And Schieffelin fouled over the back. Miles Studi just picked up his first personal.
And Schieffelin has not been to the line a lot. He's 10 for 12, though. So he's a pretty good free throw shooter, but it's a one-and-one opportunity.
Ian Schieffelin came from the top-ranked high school basketball program in the state of Georgia over at Grayson. He was teammates with Chauncey Wiggins.
These big free throws.
He's got 9 points and 9 boards so far. Missed the free throw. Under a minute to go. Johnson, Schieffelin, rebound number 10.
Got to keep the ball moving here.
And Girard chews up about 5 seconds before finally getting fouled.
And it's still a one-and-one. That's only team foul number 9, and Girard is an excellent free throw shooter. But we just saw an excellent free throw shooter miss the front end.
Girard tonight, 10 points. He's made both of his free throw attempts.
If there's any, you know, I don't care what the percentages are. I'm very comfortable with having, if I'm Brad Brownell, with having Joe Girard at the line.
There's a confidence level that comes with playing in 120 career games before this season. Lead back to 6. Right inside, no, Schieffelin clears. Girard lost the handle, Studi, no. And a foul called against the Tigers.
Fouls against Girard. You know, Girard had the ball down in there and he was looking for a foul. And in that situation, all you got to do if you're Joe Girard is hang on to the thing. So he's got the ball. And I don't think he was fouled. They slapped it away from him.
One more for Studi.
Boy, South Carolina's hurt themselves from the free throw line here down the stretch.
9 of 14 at the line in the second half, to your point.
Well, now here you have the situation again. If Studi makes this one, then Clemson's got to get the ball in bounds. And in this situation the last time, they weren't able to do it. Of course, you got to get the rebound if he misses.
Friendly bounce. Gamecocks 11 of 17 to the stripe tonight. Shot clock is off. Schieffelin pushed from behind by Medchie Johnson. Well, after all that's happened, the Tigers trailed by as many as 11, led by as many as 6, and now back to the line for Schieffelin, who's in search of another double-double.
Well, their offense came alive in the second half. Remember, they had 23 points at halftime. And of course, that was foul number 10, so he's got 2. And he's had his 3rd straight double-figure rebounding game. He's now got 10 points, double-double for Ian Schieffelin.
He found a way tonight. Wasn't always pretty with the 4 personals. Gamecocks running out of time. And a timeout called by Lamont Paris. $11 points, 11 boards, a pretty good night at the office.
And I really think a nice job defensively. It was, for the most part, it was Ian Schieffelin matched up against B.J. Mack. And Mack, you're not going to hold him down completely. Mack scored pretty well, but I thought Ian Schieffelin played really, really well on both ends of the court.
Largest lead of the game for Clemson, 22 seconds to go.
And again, I think the key to the whole thing, we said it at the end of the first half, that one of the reasons that Clemson has been so good so far this year has been their ability to produce on the offensive end. And South Carolina gets a lot of credit for it, but in the first half, Clemson did not produce offensively. In the second half, they have outscored South Carolina 46-32.
Significant. Tigers on the verge of improving to 8-0. Solidly in the top 25 after the 2 road wins last week at Pittsburgh and Alabama. And a different story at home here tonight. Even President Jim Clements for the Tigers getting involved in the stands tonight. Johnson's got to go. Mack. Another rebound by guess who?
Of course, Schieffelin got the rebound. Studi had a chance at it, but wasn't able to hang on.
All smiles for P.J. Hall, Joe Girard, Ian Schieffelin.
Roy, this is a very impressive win against a good South Carolina team. The Gamecocks were up by 11, and Clemson battled back, but again, they got their offense in gear. And they got it in gear from strange places. Ian Schieffelin, Chauncey Wiggins. Joe Girard made a couple big free throws. A huge 3 by Chase Hunter, who had a subpar offensive night for the most part.
Ian Schieffelin, in his last 3 basketball games, has secured 43 rebounds. Missed the free throw there. Davis the rebound.
And just get out of the way now. Don't foul anybody.
Johnson launching and connecting on one more 3. And a quick timeout for Lamont Paris. And the lead down to 5 with 7.1 seconds to go. Now, it's not over just yet. Johnson has done everything he can with 24 points tonight. But you mentioned the second half and an offensive onslaught with Wiggins, Schieffelin, and Girard and Hunter making big shots when Clemson needed it the most. We thought it would be a good game, my friend. It's turned out to be that and then some.
Well, we certainly have not been disappointed. Boy, what a show Medchie Johnson has put on.
Mentioned the 24 points he scored.
Well, his 2 games coming in to this when he averaged 26 and a half.
What's the strategy now for both sides with 7.1 to go? You're just trying to bleed clock, I assume, if you're Clemson.
Yes, you are, but you're trying to get the ball inbounds first.
That was a problem earlier, just moments ago. The 5-second call. They'll get it to P.J. Hall, quickly fouled by Studi.
And that's a really good play by Clemson. Hall, with his size and strength, he can get down there and basically post up and have the ball come to him. That was a good move by Hall. And again, they're in the double bonus, so it's a 2-shot foul.
Well, it's interesting, too. You mentioned the comeback. We've talked about it. Well, P.J. Hall's been a factor, but just 12 points tonight. He came in averaging over 21.
I thought South Carolina defended against him very, very well. Which is one of the reasons why Wiggins has 15 points and Schieffelin is in double figures. This is a Clemson team that has a lot of options, and if you cut one off, then somebody else is going to produce.
A lot of these fans behind us in the Clemson student section remember the football score from 2.5 weeks ago. The basketball rivalry doesn't take on quite the same meaning and feeling as football. But for the team that wins it, it's pretty special.
Now you just get out of the way. Oh my heavens. That is the last thing you want to do. You just get out of the way.
Second foul on Hunter. That'll put Johnson back at the line. Only 3.2 seconds to go.
Well, it's most unlikely that South Carolina can come back with 3.2 seconds and down 7, but you know, being at the free throw line, I mean, if you don't foul them, the clock expires.
Johnson, 25 points. Gamecocks led by 7 at halftime. Before the Tigers started to mount their comeback. And that comeback officially complete. 72-67. Clemson over South Carolina.